Beauty pageants have evolved over time. From being competition focused on physical appearance, today they emphasize a combination of intelligence, talent, community service, and advocacy. Despite these changes, beauty pageant still faces criticism. Some argue they continue to promote outdated beauty standards or reinforce stereotypes, while others question the implication of judging individuals, even with a focus on intellect and talent. Hello everyone, and welcome to Our Voices. I am Jeannie Niwa, joined by my co-host Orianita Nishaka and Simini Shekoye. In this episode, we'll explore how contestants use pageants as platform to highlight social issues and discuss the challenges faced by beauty pageant contestants of color. We'll also touch on the recent controversy involving Miss Universe Nigeria and allegation of xenophobia in South Africa. Well, hello, ladies.
Hello. Hi.
So what comes to mind when you think about beauty pageant?
Well, as a former beauty queen, back in them days,
Hello.
back a long time ago, I know a lot of what happens in the beauty pageantry world, the positive and the negatives, but I think overall it's an opportunity for young women to shed light on some of the issues that are brushed under the carpet in society. So it's an opportunity for them to actually do some advocacy work, and it's always really great to see them, come out of their shelves, explain a situation, explain a topic, and promote the betterment of our societies. But also know the negative part about it. We know that prostitution is attached to it. We know that sex trade is in it. A lot of very scary things happen in it, so you have to really be mentally prepared of what can happen while you're in that sort of environment.
Yeah, I think beauty pageants are one of the most controversial events that take place. As Orion said, I also believe that these pageants are an opportunity for the girls at individual level. The girls practice self-esteem, public speaking, and community work. Also, as a winner, they get a voice, to be a voice to the voiceless, to be able to advocate for different causes, right? But at the same time, I believe it also depends on the agency that's organizing these events. What's the goal? What's the purpose? And how do they bring out the intellect and the potential of these girls? Because we have seen in a lot of cases self-esteem being affected, the girls being exploited, and there is a lot of negative consequences coming out from these pageants. So I think the goal of how these pageants are organized and what's the overall end game is really important.
I mean, I join you. There's definitely pros and cons. And even if it's straight up beauty, I don't mind it. I love it. I love watching it on TV. I mean, usually I root for, whoever looks more African, I just like to stay away from the white beauty stereotype, weave and things like that. And so I'm all for it. But when it comes to my own daughter, I remember her, being interested in that for some reason.
Scared.
Yeah, I discourage her because probably of the cons that you say, the drug, the abuse. I don't want her to be judged by peers on her beauty. And I don't want her to feel, insecure, vulnerable, all. So
I completely understand. As a mom of a daughter, I probably wouldn't either, because the things I saw, and I was very strong-minded at the time. I've always been like a little rebel, but if a man came to me and said something, I would just be like, what you talk about? But there's some girls who be like, oh, I don't know, and then, so you have to really be protective of your daughters and really tell them, look, this is what it's about. If you want to go vote for your cause, go for it. But if any man come and start to entice you in any way,
also, how much time and how much opportunity are these girls given to be a voice? Because we have seen recently Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, they withdrew from these competitions because they said they were silenced, that they were not given the opportunity. So there is a lot at stake when we talk about these agents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the contestants for Miss Universe Nigeria recently gave a warm welcome to Chidima Adesina, a former Miss South Africa who withdrew from the Miss South Africa pageant in August due to a controversy about her Nigerian heritage. Despite the investigation by South African government, Chidinma has now joined the Nigerian pageant to represent her father's homeland.
My name is Chidinma Vanessa.
The controversy surrounding Chidinma Adetshina has attracted international attention after the polemic over her Nigerian origins sparked a virulent reaction in South Africa. Faced with pressure and threats, she decided to withdraw from the Miss South Africa pageant.
It was not an easy experience. It was really tough. There would be times where I wouldn't even feel like going outside, and I would really cry myself to sleep because I don't think that anybody deserves the kind of backlash that I have received. I know that I've grown through everything. I've bounced back from all these challenges and obstacles, and it has just really proved the strength and the courage and the resilience that I have.
The situation paved the way for a new opportunity for Chidinma Adetshina. Guy Murray Bruce, National Director of Miss Universe Nigeria, invited Chidinma to the pageant.
I'm advocating for unity. I think my story is a very powerful story, and it can be very impactful because this is a lot of people that are not accepted, a lot of people that are still fighting for their identity, and I just feel like in order for us to move better and have a better future, we need to stand together as one. And I know that this is a very great platform for me to use and bringing all of us together as one as Africans.
Chidinma Adetshina received expressions of support and solidarity from her new Miss Universe Nigeria competitors.
It's all about sisterhood. We, at the end of the day, we are all one. What matters in this life is that we are humanity, we are humans. And we should also always have it at the back of our mind that whatever we do, wherever we find ourselves, what matters is not the race, is not the tribe, the language, or your skin color. What matters is that you bleed the same blood and we are all humans, regardless of our backgrounds. So, yeah.
Chidinma Adetshina's participation in the Miss Universe Nigeria pageant has been viewed by some as a demonstration of unity and support in the face of global challenges such as racism and xenophobia.
And thank you for that report, Nanita Lani. So now joining us is Miss Lady Kate Ndi. Originally from Cameroon, Lady Kate is the founder of Miss Africa USA and serves as Maryland's Governor's Commissioner for African Affairs. She joined us via Skype from here in Washington, D.C. Hello, Miss Lady Kate, and welcome.
Hello, hello, and a pleasure, and it's an honor indeed to join you on Voices today. Thank you.
Trust me, the feeling is the same. So we just saw the contestant who had her background questioned. We've seen similar situations where contestants have faced scrutiny over the background, like in beauty competition in Algeria and Japan, where participants were even harassed. How in your competition do you define and handle questions about a contestant's origin?
Okay, so first of all, let me just correct. I'm a former commissioner for the state of Maryland, African Affairs. So my term is over. Yeah.
Former.
That's a wonderful question. That's a very good question. This is now coming up over and over and over. We are living in a world that is so integrated right now. We're global citizens.
Yeah.
We are seeing, generation after generation with multiple heritage, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's a feature that's becoming very common now. It's new, and I think that pageants have to also start incorporating that in their selection process. For example, I've had a Nigerian who was born in Ivory Coast who wanted to represent Ivory Coast, right? Her name gave it away, but she was born in Ivory Coast. She lived in Ivory Coast. The music, the food, everything. She was a citizen, right? But her name gave it away. Like, no, we don't have this name. Like, let's look into it. That became a big issue in one of our pageants in the past. And so we're starting to see this. I saw how xenophobic it was with Chidinma. It really broke my heart. But I'm happy to see that she did not give up She's a very strong girl, and she was able to be accepted in the Miss Nigeria pageant. That was a good outcome.
So, Lady Kate, what really inspired you to create the Miss Africa USA pageant, and how do you see it empowering young African women in America?
Miss Africa USA was inspired by just a drive to empower young girls. I never had that opportunity when I was young. I was always very strong. I grew up a very strong girl. My mom was very involved in women empowerment in her way, in her community. And I just learned that, empowering women is a big opportunity for us as women to lift each other up. So as long as God has given me that strength and inspiration, I will keep doing what I do. And I have seen how my platform has empowered and lifted so many girls. And that keeps me going to see what they're able to do with this platform. Yeah.
Right, and that's really great. Let's talk about a little bit about beauty standards.
Yeah.
This is an African beauty pageantry, and we know that when it comes to African beauty, we're looking at curves, we're looking at natural beauty, and of course, a little afro sometimes. How do you empower these African young women to be unique and not to look like a Barbie doll? I mean, we were talking here earlier about how we constantly see the same thing, straight, long hair, very shiny lips, and just the exact same thing, large eyelashes. And we sort of can't find the African beauty that we know. How do you inspire them to be unique and also still represent the continent?
That's a very important question because we are still struggling, I must admit. We're still struggling to get that African authenticity in pageantry. Pageantry is still very much driven by Western standards of beauty. For example, in Miss Africa USA, each time we have a pageant, we get, backlash, people contacting us and saying, why is she wearing these weaves? And we get those questions all the time. And people want to come to our pageant and see more African,
that's right,
authentic beauty. So it's a struggle. We're working with the girls, and trying to make sure that we are staying African. But the world is, like I said, it's still a struggle, but we're promoting African beauty. I think that we have advanced a great deal by promoting African fashion. And we have glamorized African fashion to because when I first started the pageant, it was like, even some of the girls didn't want to wear the African designs, but now it's like it's taken over. Yeah. And so it's a work in progress. We just have to keep promoting African beauty, the authentic African beauty. I'm not sure if you watch Miss Grand International. Miss France took her wig off on stage.
I saw that
she
yesterday.
is so beautiful. She's bald. And she's originally from, I think, Cameroon. And
making a big, bold statement.
Yeah.
She took that wig off and she struck that stage like, she owned the world. Very beautiful moment. And you could see everybody, the crowd was very diverse. Everybody was cheering for her. So we need to continue to push that African authentic beauty.
That's right. That's awesome.
That's great. And thank you so much. I wish we had more time to discuss this, but it's time for a short break. And I would like to thank Lady Kate Ndi, founder and CEO of Miss Africa USA, for joining us. Coming up, we'll speak with a beauty queen who is competing in the upcoming Miss Universe 2024 competition and get her perspective on pageant life. We also want to hear from you. Join us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at VOA Africa using the hashtag VOA Our Voices. We'll be right back.
In times of change, when the world seems uncertain, and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depends on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
You're watching VOA's Red Carpet. My name is Jackson Vunganyi. Thank you so much for joining us each week right here on Red Carpet. We bring you the latest in
health, wellness, sport, beauty, medical breakthroughs. Healthy Living cares about your well-being. What are the main health concerns in Africa and around the world? Find out the latest on coronavirus. Connect with our experts and ask them questions.
How long does the virus stay?
Join me, Linoch Mudu, in Washington every week on Healthy Living, right here on VOA.
You with Our Voices, welcome back. You are watching Our Voices, and today we are discussing the life and beauty behind pageants. Let's take a moment to hear from women in Johannesburg, South Africa. We ask Matapelo Mashila, Nolutando Madosela, Simangele Adebe, and Sobale Gumede on what they consider to be acceptable criteria or desirable attributes for someone to be admitted into beauty pageant. Here's what they had to say.
It shouldn't be based on your physique, specific stereotype. So So the main part is just breaking all stereotypes from all societal norms and giving a fair chance to people that are deserving, regardless of your body structure, regardless of how dark or how light your skin is. Because colorism is a problem as well. I mean, we see it a lot. Even for myself, I do see it in the industry that I'm in.
I would look at a normal lady, someone who loves themselves, someone who loves themselves for who they are, someone who is smart, someone who is courageous, and someone who looks normal, man. I think a lot of the times we see people who are wearing makeup. I'm not wearing makeup right now. So I say like someone who is just an ordinary human being who doesn't have a specific body, who doesn't have a specific figure, just a normal girl like me.
I don't think I would qualify because I consider myself very short. But mostly, like I've seen most of the models, and I think they're a bit taller than me, and also with the body-wise structure, you know.
Someone who likes people, someone who's outgoing, someone who can communicate with people, yeah, etc.
Now joining us is our guest, Miss Snit Tewoldemedhin, the former Miss Africa USA 2023 from Eritrea. On October 3rd, Snit won Miss Universe Eritrea and is now preparing for the 73rd Miss Universe International Pageant in Mexico City on Saturday, November 16th. Congratulations, Miss Snit.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And welcome back to Our Voices.
Yes. Thank you so much.
It's so good to have you back in our studio.
Good to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this competition. Why do you want this title and what does it mean to you?
So to begin with, Miss Eritrea Universe is the first time that it's competing in the biggest pageant platform. So as of not too long ago, it did not exist.
Oh.
And my country has not had a chance to show up
That's
in
a
those
lot of
big
pressure.
So
leagues.
this is the first time?
Wow.
You are the first one?
Yes, I'll
Wow, that's big.
Yeah. That's very big.
You're carrying a lot of weight to say, listen, I'm taking you to the Miss Universe International. And so when you win, I'm voting for you, but not being biased, but if you do win, what are you hoping to get out of it for your campaign and for the cause that you're voting for?
So, again, me wanting to compete was for me to tell my story, right? The personal story that I have about my younger sister being Down syndrome and struggling in the education system. So I will be advocating for her because she, of course, because of her disability, will not be able to speak on her own to the issues that she's having. And then as of October of last year, I was the ambassador of Breast Cancer Awareness Association, the African organization. And it was a beautiful experience. It was hard for me to even share my other story in that event, which is about my mother. She had cancer, breast cancer, and she passed away not too long after we got here to the United States. So she's not here right now. She's in heaven and won't be able to vocally speak about the seriousness of breast cancer and how our communities, especially the African communities, need to be proactive in getting checked up, getting the care that they need in the hospitals.
So you're speaking for two women at the same time.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
That
That's
is
awesome.
really good.
So now, I'm going to take you back to pageants in general, beauty pageants, because there is a lot of question on how beauty is defined in these pageants. So how do you define beauty, and how do you see the role these pageants play in today's society? Because, as I say, there are a lot of negative sides we hear about these events, like how women and girls get exploited. So how do you see that?
So, like I said, luckily, because this is the first time that Eritrea is competing, we're starting, and we're trying to start with a good basis where we take care of our girls and not exploit them. And I'd like to be the testimony to that. Apart from that, the way beauty pageants have been going is more about the external beauty, how you appeal to people, and more physical things. As for me growing up, like I mentioned to you earlier, I grew up with brothers until my younger sister joined in, and she has the sweetest character that not only girls but children, they're the best to be around with. They just they bring out the positive in you. So I guess I am now in pageantry because I've seen how it can be used positively. I've seen that it's not just about showing up pretty, but about telling where you're from in all aspects, the country that you represent, your culture. We usually have other medias telling our African stories, but right now I can talk about it at a personal and national level.
But even those, can I add a point here, even with the physical beauty, it also has a factor in these pageants, right? So are those standards, the traditional standards, have they changed, or are there still like tall, skinny girls being represented?
So, of course, like you mentioned earlier in the days, tall, skinny was probably the beauty standard that girls had to meet. But as of now, for instance, last year, it was the first time that Miss Universe had plus-size model represent the country of Nepal. So they're becoming more diverse, more inclusive, because I guess people are becoming more aware that beauty is not just something physical. Beauty is like even the different aspects that we have are beautiful.
So they're welcoming that more and more.
Yes,
that's great.
And it's we have to have a good way of presenting it.
Okay.
So regardless of how you are, you shine whatever is inside
That's great.
you.
And I heard they have a plus-size model as well last year.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's great. So, I mean, the way we were talking about, and you explained it very well, the importance and the benefits of being in the pageant. But we know that many parts of the continent, beauty pageants are still shunned upon. What can you talk to those who still feel that way, especially knowing that there's child trafficking, prostitution, and things like that, that they're still legitimately concerned about? What do you say to them?
So, especially in this year, Miss Universe, there will be 130 countries participating, but there's only 9 African countries that will be going there. Eritrea being one of them is something that I'm very proud of, but then at the same time, we have more to say about the issues that are going on in Africa, and hopefully me and the other 8 girls competing on behalf of Africa will be able to shine light that we can speak to our issues. We have a platform where we can advocate for ourselves and keep moving forward.
Do you have the occasion to do that within the competition? To speak about, you know, whatever is going on in your own country?
Yes. So as for me, the issues that I'm advocating for are breast cancer awareness, as well as inclusive education for special needs. Apart from that, I'm also taking advantage of this opportunity to go on the biggest pageantry stage to take my country there, right? I'll be able to have Eritrea's name on there, the traditional clothes, and then even short videos where I talk about how the weather is there, how many ethnic groups we have there.
Good.
So again,
bring awareness,
you
know, to where you're from. That's
very good.
Represent
Africa.
Africa, yes.
Absolutely.
Well, should we say good luck?
Good luck.
Many blessings.
Yes.
We'll be very proud to have somebody who was at the table.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is where we conclude our show. We'd like to thank our guests, Miss Africa USA founder and CEO Lady Kate Ndi and Miss Snit Tewoldemedhin, Miss Universe Eritrea, for sharing their passion with us today. We wish you the best of luck in the 73rd Miss Universe International Pageant in Mexico City. And don't forget to check our website on our YouTube channel. We'll see you again next week with another exciting program. Until then, keep celebrating your beauty, contest or no contest. Thank you for tuning in.